Guys, it's finally time. We did it. We're here at the season finale. We're going to be talking season 8, episode 13, the Vegas finals of American Ninja Warriors. So don't you dare go anywhere.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, there we go. See, that's my weekly Wednesday night party. I'm going to miss the hell out of this.
Is this a party?
Absolutely.
All right.
We got MC Chris over the speakers. The other MC Chris, right here next to me. We're talking season 8, episode 13, the season finale, Vegas finals of American Ninja Warrior. It has been an insane season.
Absolutely.
Up to this
has
point.
been fantastic. It's been a whole lot of fun, and I'm thrilled to be here in our finale.
Absolutely. Now, the original plan, of course, always the best intentions. We're going to have special guest Matt Iseman, Akbar Gbaja-Biamila, right here in studio joining us. Of course, this being Hollywood, this being the world as it is, things happen, schedules get mixed up. So we're still hoping to get them in, but if not, we're your hosts, as we've always been this whole season. My name's Ty Matthews. You can find me on social media at Ty Matthews PMA. And of course, my lovely and talented co-host.
I'm your lovely and talented co-host. I'm Chris Howard, and yeah, we have the boy that's going on and playing. I think it's because Alexis is fixing.
Oh no, we
the
need to keep
camera
this going
while the music's going.
We need to keep this going.
We are so grit and off. We're like off the grid. Gritty reality here.
You're damn right we are.
I love it. They're having an after party right now for American Ninja Warrior.
Of course. It's a big week, obviously, for all the hosts.
And so we're waiting for them. Hopefully they're going to be able to make it before the end of the episode. So
absolutely.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Either way, we're going to have a truly magical after show tonight.
A gritty, down dirty Hollywood after show.
Did you plug your social media? Did you tell them where they could find you?
I did. Well, you know what I did was I forwarded your tweet.
There you go.
It's so much less effort.
There you go.
It's not that I don't care, but
we'll plug it again at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Just like we always do. But guys, thank you so much if you've been joining us this whole season, or if you're joining us for the first time right now. Welcome either way. We thank you so much. Remember, if you're on iTunes, download, comment, review, subscribe, rate 5 stars if you're nasty. If you're on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up, leave us a comment. Let's all talk about Ninja Warrior, and hell, let's talk about it in between seasons. There's so much to get into.
There is. We had an incredible episode tonight. I mean, incredible. It was, there was exciting.
Highs and lows.
Yeah, highs and lows. Exactly.
Highs and
Thank you
lows.
for grabbing that and putting it into substance.
So let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about the fact that in stage 1 of the Vegas course, 73 finalists were knocked out.
Oh my God, when I heard that number, I thought, son of a gun, this has been a tough course. They did not want to give that $1 million away.
Definitely, right, exactly. Gotta hold on to that. Not gonna have another Isaac.
So we only had 16.
7, I believe it might have been 17. Might have been 17.
Okay.
73. I didn't even realize that many people had made it to Vegas.
Yeah, me either. I mean, that's insane that it took so many people out. And how much fun is it to see Jessie go with them?
Oh my God,
with the people to stay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
Very cool. Yeah.
So let's talk about this course. Let's talk about the stage 2 course of Las Vegas. First, it's almost like a greatest hits of the hardest obstacles of the season.
Yeah, it was a very difficult course.
It seemed like more than one of these obstacles were kind of like roided up versions of the ones that we saw in the city finals.
Yeah, they seemed very similar. There was a familiarity with them, but different. Same thing, but different. Right?
Exactly. So we start out with the giant ring swing. Of course, the ring swing, as always, ninjas swing on a ring, as the name implies. They try to hook that onto a hook, grab onto another ring, make another swing, and then grab onto I believe it's a rope. Leads them up onto a platform.
Right.
Now next is the down up salmon ladder.
Oh my gosh.
Which I didn't even realize that physically this was even possible.
Yeah, you don't think it goes that way. It's like a toilet flushes backwards in Australia. It's like, who thinks of that?
Exactly. So ninjas must work their way down the salmon ladder first, turn around if that's their style, their prerogative, make a jump, and make their way back up another salmon ladder.
Absolutely, a lot of activity that we haven't seen before, and when you reverse something like that, that throws a wrench in the works that could take everything out. It's
exactly.
It's a completely different ballgame.
Right. So next up is the Wave Runner. Now the Wave Runner is reminiscent of the hourglass drop that we saw in courses past. ninjas must grab onto a board, keep it from tilting. It can tilt either way.
This was a bitch.
Oh boy,
this was tough.
Yeah. So they gotta hold up their body weight on this board.
My God.
So kind of shimmy their way forward to the very end of that board. Make a jump to another pyramid shaped board that starts narrow and then gets wide.
I think this took out more than anybody else.
It took out a whole lot of people. From the Wave Runner, it's the butterfly wall. Now the butterfly wall reminded me a little bit of the propeller bar that we saw last week.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I didn't see it giving a lot of people trouble on that one. I thought it was almost like we're gonna let you walk through this one.
Right. Well, hell yeah! If you're even lucky enough to make it that far,
here you get a rest on this.
So ninjas, they have to jump from a mini trampoline onto kind of this horizontally rotating wall.
Spins around.
Grab onto a rope. From there, make their way up a wall. Next up is the double wedge. Now the wedge was one of the most unforgiving obstacles we've seen all season.
Absolutely.
But hell, why not make
Let's
it
put two?
Why not make it double? So you must make it past a first wedge, jump from that bar to another one, and then make it past a whole other wedge before you can finally get to the wall flip. And the wall flip reminded me a little bit of those kind of the tire flips that you see like martial artists and fighters do during their training.
Yeah, you think, is it a strength thing? Is it an endurance thing? It's both.
It's got to be both for sure. Yeah. And so if you can make it past those 3 wall flips, you can make it up, hit that buzzer, and make it on to stage 3.
Fantastic, and that's stage 3 is a whole nother beast.
Exactly.
Do you have them written down, all the things? On stage 3?
We'll get to that.
All right, well, one piece at a time.
We'll get to that once we get past stage 2.
So, if we do.
If exactly. A big ol' if, especially tonight. So let's talk about Michael Torres, the youngest ever to compete in stage 1. 21 years old. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's just a youngster. He's a little tadpole.
He's the guy that barely finished stage 1. I think with maybe a second or 2 remaining.
But how cool is that? Very inspirational. Gets to go to Vegas. He's here, and he's the first one up on the course.
Exactly. And I believe
Look who's here.
I believe we've got a special guest here.
What is up, guys?
Just in the nick of time.
Cool.
How are you?
How you doing?
Sorry, I just left the finale party.
Oh my God.
How are you?
Fantastic.
This was it. We just had our rap party tonight.
That's quite the entrance, though.
I know, right? It's nice that I finally get to be announced. Oh, you guys didn't say. Matt Iseman.
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay.
We wanted to get situated.
How are you guys?
Wanted to let everyone get all set
Do
up.
you have any kind of little thing you want us to say, or
No.
You written a book or anything like that? No.
I'm just happy to be here.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of American Ninja Warrior himself, Mr. Matt
Nice.
Iseman.
What's up, guys?
Fantastic
This
seeing
is
you.
so cool.
Yeah, see,
AfterBuzz, like
that
having a show.
fanfare
I feel like
going.
we've made it now. Having a show on AfterBuzz.
And then
It's
we have,
awesome.
but did you know that you have an after show of the after show?
It's all
You had no idea. No, I'm kidding.
it's just a whole snake eating its tail situation.
It's
here.
incredible.
But thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
us. We've had such a blast talking about this whole season.
It's
leading
been
up
an
to this
incredible
point.
season. It really has.
Now coming off, obviously you're coming from the after party. It's
Yeah.
got to be a big week wrapping up a season.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your feelings of this season.
It's interesting because last season we had 2 people get to the top of the mountain. And for people who didn't know the history of Sasuke, that means the course is going to get more. Look, even if nobody wins, the course still gets harder because the ninjas are always getting better. And I thought this was just an amazing season. And, we really started to realize that people win in different ways, and that was one of the things last night or Monday night, I guess it was, when the episode ended, and some people, I had a couple people say, "Wow, no one won," and then other people said, "Man, I've never felt so fulfilled watching people fall." And I think one of the things that the show's gotten much better at is telling the stories and getting people to know the athletes. Because otherwise, it's people running up and down a course the same thing for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think we've done a great job about telling the stories. And I just thought the stories we got to tell this year, they just keep getting better. It's amazing.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's one of our favorite things to talk about is just the people that are there cheering them on, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's students.
The
things like that.
camaraderie is amazing. Like seeing Drew Dreshel go out and then immediately with tears in his eyes start cheering for Daniel Gill and seeing the sincerity of it, where it's like, hey, he wanted this guy to do well because he respects the sport and how much it means for these guys. and girls to hit a buzzer, particularly on stage 3.
And you got to know that for him emotionally, he's got to be going through a lot of things at that moment where he makes the choice to then say, hey, go.
And it's hard, and I think that's one of the things is to get to see that, to see this guy have because Drew was confident he could do it, and he knows he has the skills to get through it, and to feel like this was his year, to not realize the dream and then to turn around and have to cheer for someone else. I think it symbolizes though why this show is unlike anything else, any other sport or any other show, where there's this genuine community that's been built, and how welcoming the veterans are to rookies and to new competitors, and how they open up their gyms, their houses, their lives, their skills, their abilities, their time, and to embrace these new competitors. It's unlike anything.
You guys are like one of those Following Dead. What was that old Grateful Dead bands where they travel
Yes.
out? You got like your own little Grateful Dead.
Get in the van. Hey, have some drugs and stuff.
Let me ask you, at what point did you know that nobody was going to make it through stage? Very few would make it through stage 1.
Well, so that was interesting. Stage 1, we didn't know it was going to be as hard as it was. And particularly last year, I think we had 36 finishers. We had a record number of finishers. And this year, when you see Travis Rosen and Jeff Britton go out on the very first obstacle, and I there were certainly some obstacles that are tough. The giant log grip, the dismount on that was so hard, I think, and it's hard for them to figure out. And I think what you see is no one has a certain strategy. And I think one of the elements that Akbar and I talk about so much is the physicality is the obvious thing when you look at it, but the mental approach I think is every bit as important, and it's harder to quantify. But for these athletes to, people, I don't know, people grasp. They don't know what they're going to face. They don't get a practice on it, and you get one shot. And you can watch people going through it, but when you get up there, you can see it on the log grip. People weren't sure, like, how am I visualizing this landing? What am I doing here? And in the back of their mind, they're like, the clock is ticking. I can't just hang up there and let it swing. And so I think just seeing that the difficulty they had with figuring out stage 1, and when you see guys like Britton or Rosen go out on the first obstacle, it gets in the heads of the other competitors. And I think we started to see that, where success can breed success, but failure can really propagate as well. So it was a really tough course, but we didn't know. And the flying squirrel was tough too, because that one chewed up a lot of time. And we only saw a couple guys come down, like Nick Hansen, the Eskimo Ninja, who times out. But I think a lot of athletes felt the pressure of the clock.
It's just right there in their face.
Oh my God!
You almost
And
saw
it's
it,
tough.
you saw it in Jessie's face when she stood up there, that she felt challenged.
And and you saw, that was what was interesting. Talking to Megan Martin, who was the first one to get to the warped wall on stage 1, and she said the difficulty of it. This was something Makoto Nagano, who's one of the guys who got total victory in Sasuke, had said. A rookie will never do it on the first try, because you just can't know mentally what you're facing. And Megan had said that, where she's like, my God, I was so gassed from running through stage 1, because previously in qualifying and seeding finals, you don't have a clock, just survive. And I think for stage 1, it's just a different approach. And for Megan and Jessie, I think it was such a good experience last season not getting through it. I think she figured out what she needed to, and physically, she just gets stronger and stronger.
Oh yeah.
So I had a whole bunch of ninjas over Monday night. We were live tweeting the finale. She shows up. And she goes in the backyard. She's like, can I use your backyard to do push-ups? She did 100 push-ups. I'm like, oh my God, Jessie. She's never still. But that's why she's amazing.
Absolutely. Now, we've had such a blast talking about the show this whole season. We bring it to you guys for free. Part of the way that we do that is through companies like DraftKings.com. Let me tell you guys a little bit about DraftKings.com. See, football season's finally here, and it's time to put your fantasy knowledge to the test to win your share of $100,000 in DraftKings free Week 1 contest. Now, that's right. DraftKings is hosting a free contest this weekend with $100,000 in total prizes up for grabs. DraftKings.com is the destination for 1 week fantasy football, and you know what 1 week fantasy football means? That means no season-long commitments. You can play whenever you want with the players you want. You just pick your contest, draft your players, follow your team live. You can renew old rivalries with friends to prove that you're the superior GM, or you can try 50-50 contests where the top half of all entries win cash. DraftKings even has contests exclusively for beginners. Now, all you need to do is you got to hurry on over to DraftKings.com, use that code BUZZ, that's BUZZ, and you can play for free in this weekend's $100,000 fantasy contest. Now, this contest, it's 100% free, so there's no reason not to play. Again, that's code BUZZ, BUZZ, to play for free for your share of $100,000 this weekend. Only at DraftKings.com. Eligibility restrictions may apply. There's something for everyone at DraftKings.com.
Well done.
I feel like we need a fantasy expert. If only I knew someone. I'm hoping he comes through the door right now. He's supposed to be coming.
Oh, is he coming?
That would be such beautiful time.
I wish I could make that happen.
We were leaving from the finale.
Akbar does sound like the name of a genie or something. That would just kind of
Akbar, make it so.
Now, you talked about the kind of the mental aspect and the pressure that can get to people, and one of the times that I really thought about that in this episode was when Joe Moravsky, the weatherman, was making his run, because he had never ever failed on stage 2 before, and each time that you make it, that pressure has got to get more and more challenging. Like, am I gonna do it again? And it was that wave runner. It was that wave runner that did him in, that did so many other people in.
It's brutal. It's a brutal, unforgiving obstacle. And it was the thing they talked about. A lot of them said that on the giant ring swing, that Ian Dory told me this. You know, when he went out last year on the flying bars on stage 3, this guy is a world-class climber, and he was like, I was over gripping. And they burn out their grip strength so rapidly on it. And I think the ring swing was such a tough first obstacle that they just start burning it out and then into the salmon ladder. And that's what did Jessie in on there too, where it's just you start getting you get pumped. You get pumped, and when they lose it, they're just like they just their fingertips will not function. And for even someone like Moravsky, who's, I think he and Britton both, I think, were a little bit shocked in the Philadelphia City Finals when they didn't complete the course.
Right.
And I think both of them took, I know for Britain, the pressure of having been perfect last year and having it not be enough, and then coming back and having to try to redo it with so much expectations. I think that for both of them, and Joe, who is a fierce competitor.
Oh yeah.
And so mentally tough, because he's not the most physically, don't take this wrong, but he's not the most physically gifted person out there.
Sure.
But I think he works as hard as anyone, and mentally I think he always has a game plan out there. But that's honestly, people were frustrated, but I'm like, that's what makes this show so awesome, is that at any second a run can end for anyone. But on the other hand, you could see a run that you'll never forget, a moment, where someone does, Jessie Graff, where you're just like, is this going to be the time when history's made? And it's awesome. But you until they hit that buzzer, nothing's guaranteed.
Oh, and you never know. It doesn't even necessarily get down to physical prowess. I mean, we've seen brick shithouses like Mac Rush,
he is so remarkably agile for 220 pounds.
Oh yeah. But it's, we see so many different body types. We see young, we see old. We were just talking right before you came in. We were talking Michael Torres, the youngest ever to compete on stage 1, and then we saw guys even on the other end of the age spectrum.
Jon Stewart's still doing it out there.
Exactly.
He's got kids from 31 to 7. He's 55 now. 55. And he shattered his collarbone just before last season.
Look,
if we only had a fantasy expert.
Hey, what's up?
Well, fantastic seeing you.
Thanks for coming in.
Putting you right down here.
Man, I tell you, you can't ever trust navigation.
We were happy to have you guys navigate your way here after the party, because that's really cool. Thank you so much for coming out.
Now, we were just talking about DraftKings, just talking about fantasy football. So, of course, perfect timing.
You need some help?
Perfect timing. God knows I do.
Yeah.
God knows I do. I barely know a thing about real football. Finally playing fantasy football for the first time.
Did you really?
We're getting into it. Oh yeah. I'm not going to lie. I had a pretty good victory this past week.
Okay.
We'll talk about that off mic. But we were talking about the impact that age plays on the course, from guys like Michael Torres at 21 to guys like Jon Stewart at 54. You never know who's going to make it all the way. And I wanted to ask you guys, who were some of the ones this whole season that shocked you the most with how well they did or how far they got?
For me, I'd probably say Zach Gowen. That one still lives in my head.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've seen so many guys, playing in the NFL, play through torn this and sprain this, but to see a guy go out there and pull off a leg and a prosthetic leg and run the course with one leg, to me it will stand out forever because that's passion. That's making absolutely no excuses. And I remember that night Matt looking to me and going, "Dang, like, what's your excuse?" I mean, I thought about that. I was like, "Geez, you have no excuse when you see a man go out there and attempt a course that requires so much agility with two legs. I mean, and he does it with one.
Yeah,
it was impressive.
That is pretty
absolutely. And apologies, of course. I was so excited to see you. Completely forgot to give you your introduction, ladies and gentlemen. The other voice of American Ninja Warrior,
Hey.
Mr. Akbar Gbaja-Biamila.
Okay. Oh, you got it.
Oh, I got it. I got you.
Matt was training you up beforehand.
You didn't say a word.
He knew this stuff. I mean, this guy does his own.
Episode one, I got it. Chris was very.
I was blown away. I'm still wrestling with it.
Can I say something on a personal note?
Yeah.
My son takes Wing Chun classes just
You're kidding.
3 or 4 blocks from here.
Oh, how cool is that?
That's my son's Wing Chun class.
Is it Wing Chun?
Yeah.
Wait, one of my
That's
good
not very
friends.
convenient for you.
You said-
You're down in the South Bay.
I know, but because he really wants this is the Grandmaster. We met the Grandmaster at Ip Man 3 that does the Wing Chun. He actually worked with Bruce Lee, and he recommended this
Which
class.
Grandmaster was it? Because
Grandmaster, I can't think of his
William
name.
Chung, by any chance?
William
Chung is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's an older guy. He's like 75 years
Very
old.
old. He was Bruce Lee's best friend.
Yes.
Good friend.
Yes, and I met him, and he says, "Here, I want you to call Sifu somebody." And so, anyways, we went out, and so I drive him
how
down
cool is
here.
that?
Yeah, and I go hang out at the Ninja Warrior office while he's in class, because like,
Hang out with us more often.
Now,
That's cool.
I can watch it for an hour, but not 4 hours.
now we talked about the people that shocked you the most going far. What about tonight? Now, even the last couple episodes, we've talked about some of the upsets that we've seen with the veterans and with kind of the old guard that haven't quite made it. Was there anyone that you were genuinely, like, probably the most shocked that they didn't quite make it? Because I know there's a lot.
Here's the thing: like we've stopped making predictions because you realize it's so hard to get through it, and I hesitate to even say anyone fails because the reality is, we learned like Caldiero last year fell on the body prop in the city finals. Like it's designed to be hard. So, but I would say, Moravsky's obviously I think was a shock. I was devastated for Flip, because I know how hard he's been working, and to go out on a technicality, even though people, the rules were clearly explained to them.
Do you think
They
that
know
good? Do you think that was his strategy to just?
No, I think it was a moment. I think in the moment he felt, his grip was giving out, and I think he propelled himself through.
It was just a little mental error. Didn't probably think it through.
think that's
Exactly. Yeah.
But Jeff Britton was the other one that was a shocker.
Right.
Oh,
for
sure.
me. Just seeing that happen so fast, and just I really wanted to see him get the millions.
Right, of course.
But it didn't happen for him.
And it's, seeing guys like, especially Jake Murray and Thomas Stillings tonight, that really got me, because we talked a little last week about how there's the veterans, there's your Jeff Brittons, and there's Casey Catanzaros and stuff like that. And then there's this new class that almost, they seem bulletproof. Jake Murray, it seemed like nothing was giving him any bit of trouble. And then to see him go down, it's just like, it knocks the wind out of you when it happens.
And he was having so much fun on the I think that's the one that, I just wanted the fun to happen.
Oh, sure.
He's kind of like, without the bad boy mentality, he's like the Dennis Rodman of Ninja Warrior, just because he's got a lot of flair. He does whatever the heck he wants. We're talking about corn dog. We're not talking about the course here.
That's what we said. He's the corn dog.
We're talking about corn dogs
And
here.
the goggles were solid.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, his post-run interview, like seeing how heartbroken he was for a guy who's normally so lighthearted and fun, you realize how much effort they put into it, and that they know that's it. That's their shot for a year. Now they got to wait another year for a shot at the course. But
I don't think people realize, Matt, how hard that is and what that really means. Just imagine your favorite sport. I think football, we can now say, is America's sport, right?
Sure.
Just imagine your favorite team loses one game, and then they can't play until the following season.
Yeah, that sucks.
they're just out. They can't compete anymore in the season. That's the equivalent. Maybe it's a little hard to kind of put that together, but that's hard on them. So that's why you see that.
But honestly, that's why Daniel Gill is so impressive in his sophomore year. that we don't look at him as a guy who's in his second year of competition. I think he's shown himself to be so gifted and such a good competitor. But I mean, to make it all the way to stage 3 in such a brutal year, I think he's shown that he's the real deal.
And Drew is, of course, as well. But we had a question actually we wanted to ask you about Casey. We didn't think she made it to Vegas. And then we saw her in Vegas.
So Wildcards.
Yeah,
so we do
really?
Wildcards. Yeah,
Okay.
we do. You know,
I thought I
there's
wasn't putting you on the
65
spot, am I?
No. And, you know, I don't know if we did, because a lot of people had that question. So I don't think we did a good enough job addressing it. Always in Vegas, we've had, we'll have a guaranteed spot. But if you look at it, there are 15, so there were only 65 spots that were guaranteed. And the rest were filled with wild cards. And so people were saying, why would Casey get this? There were other people who perform better, and it's like, well, the wild card is a very subjective category, and part of it is the way I said it is like, look, Casey is still the only woman who's finished a city finals, and for a lot of people, she is the reason they discovered American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
So regardless of what I look at it as like, Arnold Palmer is going to be teeing off at the Masters until they put him 6 feet under, and it's like he's got it. And to me, what Casey has done in the past, she's had her struggles. During the past few seasons, I still feel like she
But
she's earned it.
and to be fair, I mean, when you look at how strong she is, and I think, look, it is so difficult when you're talking about doing consecutive obstacles like that and being on point and being money. But she goes out there and she can do it. She's the real deal. It's not like a freebie pass. It was not like say, oh, because you're Casey. I mean, that's part of it because of what she's done. But she goes out there and she wrecks shops. I think that when you put a group together for that Vegas, because it's such a monster, especially when you're there live looking at it, you need strong competitors who are going to compete there.
And she's got the appeal too. I mean, we were glad to see it. Don't get us wrong.
No, it is, and that's something again. A lot of the reality is it was only Jessie, Megan Martin, and Jessie Lebrecq who qualified for the women in Vegas, and the other women were there through wild cards.
Okay, I was wondering about
so,
that. Yeah.
And that's still part of it too, where the women, the city finals courses are a little more upper body intensive, and it's very hard. And so we do want to have women competing on the biggest stage possible. So a lot of the wild cards were women, and we get a lot of great people like Natalie Duran, who've shown a lot of potential, Mary Beth Wong, and especially Team Ninja Warrior on Esquire has been a great proving ground to discover some new women. I mean, Erica Cook and Jerry DeMilio, I think are going to be some incredible talents that have shown that they can perform, and now it's putting it together on the big stage.
It's always good to see, especially on Team Ninja, to see new talent arrive. It's like, whoa, where was this one?
Right, exactly.
It brings out a different competition level too. The intensity is it's great.
And a lot of the rookies that we saw this year. I mean, Adam Rail, making it as far as he did. It's insane to see.
Rookie walk on. Yeah, it was great.
Concrete ninja.
It's always cool for us. Again, we go into a season and we don't know who's going to be. You obviously have money. You'll think Caldiero's going to do Great Britain or whatever.
But does this happen to you when you start watching? We start watching the videos and the submission videos, and before you know it, I start taking my notes. I don't have my notepad here, and I'll say, oh, I like this one. Oh, I like this one. Oh, I like this one. Before you know it, I have all these people that I like and I think that are going to do great. I'm like, oh, I can't wait till this person. And then boom, and obviously some of their stories are different, but. There's so many of them that you just fall in love with, and you can't wait. But when reality sets in, like this is the real course, it's a whole different game.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, some of those outtakes where you got Casey doing the flip and then landing in the spider.
Oh my God! But that's what you see when you see them training on obstacles. You realize so many people have worked so hard and they have amazing skills, but that's what makes it so special, is to do it on the night on obstacles that are a little different. You haven't trained on, you don't know exactly what the trampoline's like, you don't know how much space there is on that wall or what the purchase is going to be like on the ledges. It's what makes it's just really, we're kind of dicks. We're it's so hard.
Why do you guys say it like that?
We do, and but honestly, and people say, people have said like, oh, you made it too hard this year. And it's like, look, the ninjas don't want it to be easy. When they hit a buzzer, they want it to mean something. And they don't want us to dumb down the course or try to make
We're
it
not
where
giving out
everyone's getting
participation
through.
trophies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is not a participation trophy type of show, type of characters, type of athletes, type of hosts. Like if you get it, you earn it, and that's why we're so passionate about it.
Well, you guys, and I think it's what gives you your longevity too, because the people are going to be looking next year if they couldn't make it past stage 2.
Oh, sure.
It's like, give us more.
And it's worth noting that $1 million only gets given away if you make it to the top of that mountain at the end of stage.
Nobody
4.
got it.
Yeah, in
Nobody
time.
got it. So
In time.
sorry.
Funny because last year I remember prior to the winner, Isaac Caldiero, the question used to be like, is there ever going to be somebody, who's going to win the show and who's going to win the money? Right. And now, like, who won this year? Who won this year? I just keep who won this year? Who won this year?
Absolutely. Now we talked about how unforgiving this course was. Only 2 competitors made it to stage 3. Of course, Drew Dreshel, Daniel Gill. Now, Drew Dreshel, we saw some clips of him competing in Japan. What are kind of some of the most notable differences you'd say between Sasuke and American Ninja Warrior?
I didn't see the course this year. The difficulty. They don't have qualifying. That all happens in one day.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we went out there, the first 2 years I was on the show, we went to Japan, so we got to experience it. And you're out there at 7 a.m. and they'll start running people through stage 1, and it'll go until 3, 4, 5 in the morning, depending on how many people make it, if anyone, to stage 4. I think our course has actually surpassed theirs in terms of difficulty. They're different. They're very different. They obviously we're inspired by them. I think based on what we've seen in the USA versus the World competition, our athletes have caught up very quickly to the Japanese, and I think we've embraced it. And part of it is that's because it's a one-off show. It's a little harder, I think, for them to justify training. Literally, because we have so many more episodes and you'll have longer to participate, I think we give more people an opportunity. They have 100 competitors a year, and we'll have 650, 700 people get a shot on a qualifying course. So we're getting more people in there, and so I think we've caught up very quickly to them. But they're obviously very similar. Stage 1 is going to be a lot of agility. Stage 2 is going to be the hybrid. Stage 3, same thing, no timer, and it's upper body intensive, and it's going to blast your grip. And they've come up with some insidious new obstacles. I think our obstacles, we're more cognizant of the fact that it is a TV show.
Right.
So we'll have some that are going to be, ours tend to be a little quicker.
Yeah.
A little bit flashier, maybe.
We used to have ones like I think of rope maze in Venice a couple years ago where, that was Lance Pecos was hung up for 7 minutes on an obstacle. Wow. In Japan they'll do that and cut it down for the special, but because we know with TV you just can't have an obstacle like that. So our obstacles, I think, you'll get some like Spin Cycle last year, where it's kind of a do or die thing. It happens quickly, and if you miss that transition, that was it. You were done.
Right. Yeah. So Drew Dreshel, obviously he makes it to stage 3, but it's the hang climb. It's grabbing onto one of the footholds that it's in a second. He's in the water.
Yeah, and it's so hard. And in hindsight, he was talking about it was a mental lapse of the wrong position. But the other thing I think is that curved body prop is so intense, and that's one where every muscle in your body is firing. And I think it's so exhausting, and to then have to go right into the hang climb.
That doesn't necessarily
It's hard.
translate.
Yeah, I call that
really
thing
hard, I think.
scoliosis. That thing was
Exactly.
And the reality is they just done stage 2. They were the only 2 who got through it. So we probably had about an hour between the stages, maybe.
Yeah,
as we
there
switched
wasn't
it.
a lot,
Not
a lot of recovery time,
Right, exactly.
between the two. But especially, I love the way they responded though, and the way they reacted to the new twist that we put, especially on the ultimate cliffhanger. I guess it'd be the ultimate cliffhanger.
Right, exactly.
There's a lot of transitions in that ultimate cliffhanger. But have any of you guys ever tried it?
We want to run. We want to do it.
We're
Well,
dying.
now,
We're
next
in.
year, next year you're in.
We're dying.
Really?
Yeah,
we don't have to get stand for 2 weeks and eat peanut butter sandwiches.
No, seriously, you got to try it. I did it with Flip, and I'm embarrassed to say that I was not able to do the cliffhanger. Now, partly I have an excuse because my hands are huge.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
they're
Look at
really
that.
big, and I could not get my hand, and I couldn't support 260 on
I
the.
see.
Right.
it was just.
Well, now it's only 2:45.
2:47. 2:47.
Can I say?
I had a cake pop at the.
You look great because you look like you've lost some weight.
I have.
Yeah, you
he's
look
inspired me.
There you go.
Lean.
Yeah, I cut
It's
out processed
honestly,
sugar.
if you want to look
okay.
skinny, stand next to a guy who's 6'6", 260. Now that he's 247, I gotta
You have a
get in
chance?
shape. I gotta lose some weight.
I have to know: is Stephen Amell from Arrow gonna run next year?
So I don't know if we can announce this yet.
I don't know.
So we just found out that there is going to. This is. I hope I'm not spoiling this.
Oh, this is great.
Is this an exclusive?
I literally we just
TV exclusive.
so we just found out tonight at this premiere party or wrap up party. There's going to be a celebrity Ninja Warrior next year.
That is cool.
There you
It's
go.
going to be in conjunction
Breaking
with the Red
news.
Nose Night,
Yeah.
with the Red Nose Day.
Okay.
And so we don't know which celebs are coming out, but Steven is.
Can we start
obviously
throwing out
gonna be your
names?
first choice. Who'd you want?
I want Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, of course, of
I
course.
want Tom Cruise. I've been calling him out because he does all his stunts. I want to see. I mean, shoot. I mean, we've got guys 55, 56 years old doing this. Why not get Tom out there? Let's see what he can do. I'd love to see a rapper out there. And I don't know who it'd be.
We're gonna get Kanye.
Shit, he's gonna do something. He's gonna make up his own course. You know who's a big fan of the show is Usher.
Really? Okay.
Oh, Usher's a huge
Well,
fan.
he crushed it at
Yeah,
Ellen.
he crushed it.
We
He did the Ellen show. Yeah.
But that was a very simplified.
Tame, yeah, exactly.
But no, I saw
He
him.
still did
I
great.
saw him at the ESPYs recently, and he was just telling me he's been watching all the shows. He was like, "Man, I'm telling you, he was talking about the disc runner. Man, I could have killed the disc runner." I'm like, "Really, dude? Like, why don't you come out?" I'm telling you, I'm gonna come out. So that'd be another one
There
I'd
you
love
go.
to see.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
And when he said that, what did you tell him?
yeah.
See, I thought that when I was watching him climb that. What did you call that? The body.
Body prop.
When I saw that, I thought Tom Cruise. I thought, okay,
Yeah.
this is the Mission Impossible.
straight
This
up
is
exactly.
in these movies because Tom Cruise can do the ninja course. Tom Cruise will beat you in a UFC fight. Tom Cruise will, wherever you go.
And then let's not forget about Zac Efron, who was doing the
trained
Baywatch.
with Flip.
He
Flip was
trained with
training
Flip,
him.
and he was doing the salmon ladder. And I think he had a salmon ladder off with The Rock.
With the Rock.
Yeah.
All right.
ripped.
Now, The Rock's going to go with this. He's going to have the same issue you have.
Yeah, no, right?
Gigantic.
Like the
Rock-
I watch him at 4:00 in the morning because he helps motivate me
Dude,
to
he's
get up.
intense.
I mean, and he's like 4:00, get up. I'm like, oh my god, oh shoot, if Dwayne's getting up, I got to get up before my workout. So,
Oh, that COD.
I want
Did
to
you
see
see
Gail Gadot come out, Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Because we've
Ooh,
had
that'd
Jessie
be nice,
Graff,
yeah.
our Wonder Woman, come out. Let's see what Gail can do.
There you
She's
go.
got a chip.
Wouldn't that be cool if you got like the whole the league of
Right?
The Justice League.
Melissa
Justice
McCartney.
League,
Yeah,
that's
right?
going to be interesting to see which celebrities.
A lot of them have said they want to, and the reality is it depends on their shooting schedule. But the other thing is, like, you don't just walk on this course and have six. We've had Super Bowl athletes, Olympic gold medalists come out, and unless you train, unless you put time in on the obstacles, you're just not going to walk out there and do it.
Well, that's kind of the mental syntax also, because Drew had said tonight that he said, what I have to do better is stick to my plan, get my plan of how I'm going to hit each obstacle.
right.
So there is that mental side.
It really is.
And it seems to me that in the progression of an episode, they learn the course. They learn by watching the others, and so they get
but,
better and better.
Look, nobody's watched as many runs as us. And I will tell you, I'll sit up there and people have said, you guys act like you know what you're doing. Well, yeah, that's our job. But I will say it is different. And we've tried the obstacles. And when you go down there, it is different when you're sitting there going, wait, from up there I see how to do it.
Right.
But when I'm actually here, I don't know if I go across.
For example, let's take the floating steps. So many people were last year, 2 years ago, the quintuple steps. It's so easy when you're watching at home because you don't have the same depth perception.
Yeah.
But when you stand on that platform, you go, wow, that is a huge gap.
And it's
just
steep.
It's steep. And then just to look at the water, it's like, okay, hold on, I got to go from this platform and make it over that and over this amount of water. It plays a mind trick on you. I'm 6'6", and I know I have the legs, span to go from one side to one side. And I did the bunny hop thing. I was like, bunny hop.
Exactly.
Bunny hop. I was like, I didn't trust that I could do it. And I know I'd explode and bound, but to bound through that big old thing was difficult. So, and that's just the beginning one. That's supposed to be the easiest of the obstacles.
Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Exactly. That's
I
exactly
mean, when you get on
right.
the course, you're getting punched in the face.
So,
Can I make a suggestion?
what's
The
that?
lady in the booth here, the producer. Hi,
That's
everybody.
beautiful, Alexis.
I'm a
That's what-
huge fan.
Okay.
For the celebrity one, I want all the Expendables to do it.
See, there you
I want
go.
an expendable episode and watch all those old action heroes.
See, I think we
Do
have
it.
to challenge them.
What's Ivan Drago's real name?
Dolph
Dolph
Lundgren was in
Lundgren.
Kindergarten Cop too. Well, I am on the new season of Celebrity Apprentice with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Are you really?
Yay.
And I'm trying.
Are you gonna ask him? I know you got his phone number. Ask him.
Arnold, do you want to come to the course? Yeah.
Now,
So you can't tell us if you won.
No, we know. Yeah, there's. I'm sworn to secrecy.
so we're almost out of time, but I got to ask you guys. Drew Dreshel out on the hang climb, Daniel Gill out on the ultimate cliffhanger. Were you guys shocked, or did you guys kind of expect that no one would make it?
No, you know what? I thought someone was gonna make it because it's so funny what happens after seeing Isaac and what he did. Look, I'm gonna be honest. Last year when Isaac won, I didn't think we were, because I had been, that was
hadn't
my
seen it yet,
third or fourth
right?
year. I was like, we're never gonna see it.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, our night's almost over. Going back to the hotel to go to sleep, and when that happened, I go, this is about to go down. We're about to see it for the first time. I mean, we had never seen it, and I was like, this is about to happen, and so. This year coming into, I was like, no, somebody's doing it. Because there's one thing when you think to shut yourself down at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're mentally already getting ready to shut down so you can go to bed. And then somebody is, I got to get my mind. So I said, this time I stayed on full alert. So I did think someone was going to make it. I didn't think,
Sure, Matt.
When I looked at Gil and Drew being in there, not having the rock climbing background, I thought it was going to be a real challenge to get through stage 3.
Right.
And it's the grip strength and talking to the climbers. I mean, Caldiero had said it, it's like, muscles, you can build most muscles up over the course of a year or two. Grip strength is something that's a decades-long process. And Dreshel has trained it relentlessly. But I think next year, he'll be that much closer. But it's just the difficulty of getting back to that point again. It's going to be a real challenge.
Sometimes in those situations, adrenaline kicks in, and you get this outer body experience where you're just doing something like, well, shoot, I didn't even know I could do that, because you smell victory. You smell, especially when you smell $1 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. $1 million would make you do some strange things.
I know, I've done them.
Well, it's so heartbreaking seeing season 8 wrap up without $1 million winner. Hopefully season 9 will bring a little more luck, but God knows it's not going to be any more forgiving
not
than
gonna
this
make it
season
easier.
was. But guys, thank you so much
Our
for
pleasure.
joining us.
Oh, you guys are rock stars.
Where,
Thank you,
man.
guys.
where
Appreciate
can
it.
our fantastic viewers find you on social media, on TV, what
At
have
Matt
you?
Iseman, everything. Twitter, I'm on Twitter.
I have to spell mine. I'm at Akbar, AKBAR _Baja, GBAJA.
Boy,
And
that
that's
better
for-
be written down. No one's getting that.
and that's for everything. And I'm gonna start Snapchatting more. I'm just,
You mean
There
you're
you
the
go.
only one
I
who
just
has your name? Unbelievable.
You didn't have problems with SAG? You going right?
Chris Howard, where can they find you?
At Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram, and hanging out with these guys on the course because we get to run next year.
You guys are doing it.
There we go. Keep your eyes out. I, as always, am Ty Matthews. You can find me online at Ty Matthews PMA, as well as various other after shows, including Monday Night Raw, Lucha Underground, all that good stuff. Check it out. Thank you so much for joining us all this season. Remember, if you're on iTunes, download, comment, review, subscribe, rate, 5 stars if you're nasty. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up. Find us on Twitter. Let's talk about all the great ninjas we're going to see in season 9. But guys, until then,
you talk fast.
peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.